What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So we have one more twist, a big one, in the Liam Payne story. TMZ has just dropped a bombshell on the internet, and it seems very, very likely that this hotel, at least partially, if not in whole, complicit in this death of Liam Payne. I don't want to step on the story too much because the video explains it all. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and play this video, and then we're going to react to it and discuss it for a minute.
I think the police investigation, the prosecutorial investigation into Liam Payne's death, they were looking for scapegoats. And the three people they're saying who are responsible for his death, I'm not buying it. The hotel, I believe, is responsible for his death. And it seems authorities are trying to cover up for this hotel. Let me explain. When Liam was put in his room by the hotel employees, there is no doubt in my mind he was going to try and escape the hotel from the balcony. Here's the evidence of that. You know that he was found in the lobby where three of the hotel employees grabbed him by the legs and arms, and he was being disruptive, no doubt, but he was conscious, and they carried him up to his room, and outside the room, they got in a fight. Liam did not want to go in that room, and there's a whole background, you can read this on our website, where Liam hated being stuck in a room. It was something that happened during One Direction. He just hated it. He did not want to go in there, but they threw him in, and they came out, and they were so concerned that he destroyed property, they took the mirror off the wall in the hallway next to his room. So why do I say that he was going to jump off the balcony or jump somewhere to get out of the hotel? Well, for a bunch of reasons. Number one, it was very clear to the hotel employees who put him in the room that he was going to try to escape through the balcony. The reason I say that is because 5 minutes after they walked out of the room, one of the employees called 911 and said exactly that. Said, "We fear for his life. There's a balcony there." So clearly he must have said something in the room to trigger the concern of a hotel employee to specifically mention to the 911 dispatcher that they feared for Liam. There was a balcony in the room and they feared for his life. Yet they left him alone in that room. Now, we know this, that when his body was found, there was a hat nearby, and he had a kind of a backpack strapped to his shoulders. And that was clear that he wasn't wearing that when he was thrown in the room. So he was no doubt trying to leave. The other thing that I think is especially interesting that we found out, and this is according to the police report which we've obtained, 2 days after Liam died, and a hotel employee went to the room directly below him on the second floor and found on the balcony a leather bag with a note inside that said "For Liam," and also had pills and a whiskey bottle. So what it seems happened here is that Liam took that leather bag, dropped it down to the second floor balcony, and it seems that what he was going to try to do was scale down to the second floor, and then it was kind of a short drop from the second floor to the ground, and he was probably going to jump. He had done this before, just a month and a half before, when a bodyguard tried to lock him in a room in Florida. Liam took a garden hose and scaled down from a balcony. So this is something he did, and it seems pretty clear that's what he was doing the day he died. So the question, who's responsible for this? A friend who allegedly abandoned him 40 minutes before he left, when there was no real evidence that he was going to harm himself or accidentally die. That friend is responsible. A waiter who may have done drugs with him, but there's no real evidence that he sold him drugs. And even if he did, was it the drugs that killed Liam Payne, or the fact that the hotel knew that he was going to try to get out of there via the balcony, and all they did was shut the door, left him there, knowing there was danger because they set it right to the 911 operator. So to me, the real question now is, what is the connection between prosecutors, the authorities, and the seeming desire to protect the hotel? Because that hotel did a lot wrong, and it seems they're trying to pin it on some patsies.
We know that 3 employees had Liam Payne by his legs, by his arms, carried him back up to his room because he was being disruptive. They take the mirror off of the wall in the hall because they were afraid that he was going to break it. Outside of the room, they got in a fight. Liam did not want to go into the room. When his body was found, he had a backpack on his back and a hat near his body, as though he was going to try to escape. 2 days after his death, a hotel employee on the 2nd floor balcony, which is right up underneath Liam Payne's room, found a bag that had pills, a whiskey bottle, a note for Liam. Okay? And it seems as though he reached over, threw that bag down to the 2nd floor balcony and was going to attempt to scale down to that 2nd floor balcony, and then from there grab his backpack, put it on his shoulder, and drop the rest of the way, which was not very far. He escaped from a hotel via the balcony about a month earlier in Florida. The hotel employees knew that Liam intended to try and escape. How do we know that? Because literally 5 minutes after that, they call the police and they say exactly that to the police. We fear for his life because there is a balcony in the room. Liam Payne said something while in that room with the hotel staff that triggered them to have that specific concern about there being a balcony in his room. The police are trying to find scapegoats, someone that may have sold him drugs, may have done drugs with him. This person who was with him up to about 40 minutes or so before his death. I'd like to add Argentina is one of the few places in the world that has a law that says abandoning someone followed by their death. Was it the drugs that killed him? If this hotel knew and had communicated from staff to staff that he planned to try to escape via this balcony, yet they took him against his will, threw him into the room by himself, and left him there. This is absolutely a bombshell. Some people have this frame of thought, just nobody knows what happened except for Liam in heaven. Liam's father wants to know, and I personally experienced something similar to this just a couple of months ago when one of my 18-year-old son's close friends, who was 17 years old, suddenly passed away, apparently from a fentanyl overdose. Okay? And when I went to that viewing and I looked at his father from a distance and I looked in his father's face, it looked as though someone reached inside this man's body and literally yanked the soul right out of him. The amount of empathy I had for this kid's father was palpable. Just I could feel it my own self. Partially from having a son that age myself, it really affected me in a big way. And I look at Liam Payne's father and how proud he was of his son and the things that his son had accomplished, and just looking at his face, how upsetting this was to him. They deserve to know. And if this is some sort of neglect, abuse, or if this hotel was somehow complicit in this happening, it needs to be known. And the people who are responsible for this need to be held liable. So I'm going to keep talking about it until we get to a point where we know what happened to Liam Payne. Okay. I also heard from another source that they found handprints on the railing, so they know that someone grabbing onto the railing up there. Unfortunately, they were too smudged to be able to match them to Liam Payne's fingerprints. If he was trying to crawl out and he was hanging onto the railing, the smudging, it makes sense. And when I listen to this, and now all of these pieces to this puzzle are starting to kind of come together, I think this hotel is going down in a big way. They absolutely did a million things wrong that night. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you very much. Have a great night.